Hello and welcome back to the channel. This is Shunting Stories. So today we're going to look at a new project that I'm going to start kicking off this spring. So I'm going to call it the Scratch and Dent. So basically it's going to be from materials and items that I've collected in a box since getting into model railways over the last 12 months. Generally items that have been really cheap or a little bit second hand. So this might suit like a little bit of a diorama. So usually quite worn or might not be ideal for the traditional model railway, so hence the name Scratch and Dent. So let's have a look at some of these items that I've been collecting. So let's start with the base. So it's a foam base that, as you can see, I've used for testing colours on other projects. It's sort of like a shelf layout sort of dimension. And what I've started firstly with is a simple acrylic paint wash over the top of the foam here, and then I've carved out the middle here and started to put some little bit of blue through the middle and using the colour of the blue foam, and then just using some silicone from Kmart to do a bit of a river treatment, and starting off with a small little balsa wood bridge there. So that's sort of a random sort of base. I thought, you know what, this would be perfect for a diorama. And let's have a look at the items that I'm thinking that might go well with this particular project. So let's start with the building. So this is a random, probably $2 or $4 building that came with a larger bundle. Quite often I just look for buildings that have got a whole heap of different types. There's always something that might be good for upcoming projects, and this is one of those. So as you can see, it would have been like a Gauge Master or something similar sort of kit. You can see the brown colouring on the inside, and someone's had a good go at weathering that. It almost looks like an army style building or treatment. Some quite thick heavy paint there, some washes. So picking this off from someone else's layout that they've sold on, that sort of thought, you know what, that suits this style of Scratch and Dent style perfectly. So that's starting with the building. Now just some other items. So second-hand shop find. So an old little truck here, definitely play worn. It's rusty, all the blue paint's chipped off it. It's got dirt throughout it, even though I've given it a good wash. So that's play worn, ready to go basically, so that doesn't need too much weathering. As you can see, I can do some other treatments to it if needed. Similar, I've got like a play worn tractor here. For this sort of project I'm thinking N scale at this time. These are probably more HO, but depending if I use some perspective in the composition, these could still work. Getting into some passenger or goods to use for the project. So this is a little, I think like a little oil tanker that came in a bundle also. Some good couplings there and some really nice detail on that particular model. So with that kind of style, with this building, I'm starting to get a little bit of a theme to going straight away, just with some of the colourings and the aging characteristics of them. Further to that, some scenery perhaps. So this bridge also came as a bundle. This is a sort of an N scale bridge, just plastic, very basic. I think from memory the seller just threw it in as a freebie, as a thank you for buying a few items, so that's good. What I've started to do with this one is do some simple blue Tamiya paints on the side to bring out some sort of a steel finish as opposed to the simple plastic on the other side. Started to give it some weathering, and then done some little bit of grasses on there just to give it some weeds or something like that to make it look weathered, like it's been unkept for many years and deserted. So starting to get a little bit of a feel for some of the weathering characteristics that might be good for this diorama slash layout. Of course we need some track. So this is just some old second-hand track. It's a little bit rusty. So again, we're getting a theme to here now with scratch and dent. And also we need some vegetation or some scenery. So these are just some old plastic trees that would have come from Amazon or Temu, bought as a bundle as I see them on sale. Same with these sorts of trees. I think these came for like $4 or something from a seller when I bought some other items again. Very basic, just a little bag of trees. They've got some nice form to them, and what I like about this particular one, although they're cheap, they do have a spike in the bottom, so for this particular foam, that's going to be ideal to stick it in. And what I have found is if I add some PVA glue to that, I can give some extra texture to it to make it not look so plastic. A little bit like this one here has got some little bit of other colours there, so that might work well. I've also got some other scatter material, so some Temu sort of flock or different coloured grasses there, some yellows through that. So I think that was very cheap, probably only a couple of dollars for a little bag, and that sort of size would be ideal for this layout. And also I've checked out a craft shop near me, and they had a sale on some architectural scale trees. They're a little bit more expensive. I think this packet was $2 for only 4 trees, but it's got some really nice detail in these, and for end scale that's going to work really well with the larger trees to get some definition and depth into the layout, especially if I'm using some vehicles that are slightly a little bit big. I've also got for scenery that I keep over time, just leftover woodland scenics grasses. So we've got sort of like a really nice green there that will be ideal for lots of ground cover if need be. And then we've also got a bit of a dirt or an earth here, which is going to be fantastic for that sort of scratch and dent, worn out sort of deserted scene. Plenty there to do lots of coverage. These little plastic jars, by the way, are just from a cheap shop. These are like $2 for 4. And if you've got extra scenery, these are fantastic for storing for future projects. Nice airtight, good little lid, and you can always do little labels on top, or you can stack them as well if you've got small space. So they're really good for saving your expensive flock and scenery items. And lastly, for this scratch and dent project, I treated myself to some new paints along with some brushes. So what I thought would be good for this particular project is sort of some nice greys and browns. Thinking of what might work well, just sort of freelance style. Looking back at this, what are some of the shades in this building that I can pick up throughout my layout? So we've got 5 really nice colours there, just Tamiya acrylics. So they'll be really good. Look forward to getting stuck into using these. It's the first time I'm using Tamiyas. And lastly, you need some brushes. So I just got a set of 4 here from Games World, along with the paints, some different points there to experiment and see what works well for this particular project. So this is part 1, scratch and dent diorama / layout. Just using a whole heap of different items that I've collected over the last sort of 12 months, and I look forward to sharing how this future project kicks off and some of the ideas that evolve over time. Thanks for watching.